Except pause.
Later.
Korean.
Moja kandi.
Sharp. Kaban in the late pause. I am yes.
Okay.
Sego solo go tell one man fit you. Yeah, changing zima the way.
Where now? Still one major now.
Except chatting.
Where Bamela Lungelo, so ngabe za umuntu apha mna composite lapha zone phambili. Into forever.
Watch barara go what excel ugly go post like kakayo like say ibet jagas bugeles bhai.
Exactly. Except for that, it stays forever this thing on Instagram. People can download it, right? And then now, abona inyawo abangazaziyo okababona nail polish abangayiqondiyo bayigcine bandibuze kanye imi ndilibele ndixoke ndibambeke. So I don't make a mistake like that. I make sure fela bandi ndedwa ndithethe ba-free ke ngoku bekumntu alamanye nje xa ndithethe into fundini
He was his mom side.
Seven bro. So okay.
Uthini lutsha na? Yewulutsha. Akababeke su. You believe son? You Yes.
Sentence guy luzuka la xesha. Would you like
it will lie because I have.
I'd love with this spoon. I think it's something I keep fucking knife or I take a spoon, a teaspoon, son. Me take a teaspoon. Slowly but surely. But how we
I put my arms like I pause.
I'm sure this morning I've also spoken about whoopee because I said a lot of we were like, yeah.
Yeah, but drima but you are hello. Exercise on Taylor.
He said you was I'm alive. Otherwise,
I put in the thing like such a Sintelela. Ida has a
too much.
Yes, Kavi fit in touch with it. Hey, man, it's wagon live. No, anyway, Chisa, Mungo. So you know, you kill away vitamin. The vitamins, ready. A boy might say, Funi Kupi Alpan, fire, you won't get like a coop. I yes, gorilla, you, I like. So, couldn't you laugh? Yes.
Lungelo.
Yeah.
Namhlanje bendithetha ngantoni?
Oh, besirangi lawe nge-corporal punishment.
Nantoni?
It's basically corporal punishment and violence, almost similar to the, but the corporal punishment in terms of lawe abantwana basesikolweni.
Okay. Belikhona nonke elilele fondini le couchini.
Yintoni na upusha kakhulu fondini ufuna ukuyeka leyo yenzayo. Yekupusha. Yekupusha boze mbathile lesikhawu sakho fethu kusengqayabizwa.
Theni?
Zimbathile njengoba zifumana phandle.
Uphambene. Ziligaka ngoku. Isikhawu zazi esikhona lapha eSt London ezifundini.
Oh, sezoyezi. Man exception zikline fethu man.
Yeah?
Zikline man wajambisela bayipheka ngkhawuthi incane man.
Yang account incane. Fundi 27,000 esikhawu langa ntoni wena lamasimba nje. Fuck.
You know, sasukantoleni sana.
What the fuck? Nika, you're not expensive. When boss you're not expensive. You're not expensive. You're not expensive. Apa sana? Indo ni ngo.
wena suka.
Mali Latif. Mali Latif.
Iyafana yile TV le yayizolo kuthenga tena channel vet.
Lo phone ndicimile because bengathanani. That's why ayibona ukulanduka
Oh, sisela ngibona ina channel we. Yeza wena isibanja phaka KFC. Ezi vest phoko light veselela we. Imenya ka KFC.
Afambeni.
Kabe sima. Oh yeah, you sure? Yona on Netflix vet.
Khona ngekhoyo fana ku-Showmax, Netflix. Akhona ngekhoyo kule TV fundini.
So imethi xa sifike bahlala ka-Brand mosman. Ufuna uyirika le. Silive isibongo. Imethi bana bakwenu man.
I decline to answer. Yabo, in terms of that, I'll incriminate myself.
Yiba kama nimthathe kwase fast me.
Okay.
Singa ungavayi. John lafika. Zima John yeza, mstabeki call go WhatsApp.
Okay. Why funa ngwatsonga phone direct phone ukuthi usave imali? Uphuwa na phone. Why funa ngwatsonga phone direct?
Save imali fit. Inyangi keke.
Amanje akufundisile indlela yokusave imali phone ngolo tsakho.
Inyangi keke. Inyangi keke.
Kekele nyanga ngafika ne-10 nyanga kakala ngafika ne-10.
Ekusayihlelinje bekubali date ihlelinje.
Nyanga seyikekele njani? Nyanga ihlelinje. Phela ngafika ne-10. Hayi Lungelo kodwa usemncudini. Hayibo, lwana. Akubani yami ngofuna nyanga ikekele. Hayibo, lwana.
Wena. Yes. Se westa wela live ayizolo do except 4 hours wonke manyara.
Yo. Ibe hot kaloku. Becela
Yeah,
bajoyinayo babukele ka. Bajoyina babuyike bathi hayi bamkhala come back. Into angakhambi back too.
Yazi bakusetla uri ku BBM yazi banyu. Funa ku make sure bayo yakho i-researchile.
Fire. Ufuna ukhale Instagram because zawukhala.
Uzolila. Uzophuma inyembezi.
Uzawulila. Ayikhona hayi into leyo yonke. Ukwathi into ngini. Anokuphila imbezi. Yabo? Phila imbezi leyo yonke. Lungelo, yabo? Bengabanye abantu. Mr. B. Ube ngokuthi abantu. Yayikhupha hit. Yabo?
Wena suka. Yo. Ufuna kube sure ba etc ba yonke leyo iri ngayo.
So how you feel. You feel like this shouldn't be said. I feel like you shouldn't put it like this. I I feel like Jacob Zuma shouldn't be a president. So are my feelings important?
This more, yes, this more, that's why I felt like I was uba grand la university kakhulu, yes. Yakwazi uhlala pha network kakhulu wonke umuntu apha busy ngezwe feel like okanye mna ndithe ndafilisha ukuthi uqomba ikusehamba na iphile we yakho.
Injalo. Ngaba bantu aba bafuna revenge life inibona umuntu Jomzelo mna uncommenting into yonke. Jomzelo lento asa Ukraine versus Russia uncommenting kakhulu because I know I've got less information first of all.
Yeah.
Or I'm not involved directly. Number two, my comments, if I've got less information, won't be of any value. Don't be just here for the smoke without fire. Yeah, but people rush to jump and talk about Russia versus Ukraine. What about what's happening here in our country? And then from our country, go to Africa. After Africa, go foreign. My friend, as the facing that, full comment to that. We used to have as next to win.
Okay,
next to I was comment. But let Ukraine. We'll just put everything into stop with one order car. Kill South Africans. It's over. Anya, it's over. Because if that guy says let's put South Africans as well in their place, those who talk too much won't do shit. So why do you speak with so proud but you can't fight? What's the point, Kant? What are you trying to do? It's like responding to a guy that you know can easily dismantle you, easily knock you out. I remember my girlfriend, basically, her friend was fighting with someone, a guy, basically. She said to this guy, Uncle Yiki, and my boyfriend is here. I was like, what? I look at that I look at my girlfriend's friend.
What's your boyfriend? So
nayo inkulu ekakazakhathaliyo ezia
uyiringa phi iphi lethothi ilapha lemjito
the out yakhe ikhona sihleli sonke la nto bo double date something like that uqala nje out phandle ngasemnyango uqala out ba khona azoyenza wathinga boyfriend yakhe ikhona ndiqoma njalo mna uqala out ngelapha ithi zona boyfriend yakhe uzawuthini.
And let's not nakuwe lightweight.
Fondini ngiyayibetha naqale out. Leya iphansi I'll get hard time.
Leya papa ndayibona okay ngiyayikhala mari ngansokolisa.
Lungelo nomqala kule ndawo fondini.
Hayi man.
Boba leya ivele trongweni kanye se ivele ekuwonyana.
Nyanya. Okanye saya etrongweni.
Lehle nayo a baby face baba. Buso malungelo. Lungelo lebecaba kwami. Baby face. Ithe umuntu onamandla upha o dangerous uthethiswa ngale. Na iqine kubindi apha. Ayijonga. Uma into olil bawa ngomadoda. Lil bawa kwami.
Ayinachoice if I situation.
Jini. Kai phendule ndifondini. Leshela yakho yaqhwatywa pha siyahamba angizolwa mna not today.
Yona ayijonga wena mhlawumbe ba kusena awuzefaka i-backup.
Maybe that's the thing.
But ke uqalele wena bamtshala mamela akho ayiza kwenzeka.
Jonga I told myself yabethwa igirlfriend yakhe siyahamba.
Savaya.
Go this fight siyahamba.
Uvaya nayo uchita. Uvaya nayo uchita kanye yamshiya.
Hamba sonke ngalokho because sezi couples mosapho by 4.
Okay. So umchita bawubethi umchita yena uyalwa.
Exactly.
Bawumchita ubethi uzolwa ke ngoba.
Hayi ubethu angene down nje mina.
Ara ngayithona ke fande wale. Awumchita ngoqondile lo.
Mamela. Ayo girlfriend yami le 1.
Uyaqala.
Number 2. Yeah, ayo girlfriend yami 1. Okwesibini lo muntu bethwayo lo muntu uyobethwa okwesibini ayo thomi yami. Cha out endiyazi sijolane friends thina. We are taking friends but it's not my friend mina. I'm with my girlfriend. My girlfriend is with her friend.
Oh, the friends bona.
Yeah. The girls are friends. Nana out, guys are friends. Kasi about obvious. Amachela afuna uhamba nathi.
Yeah.
So
umphitha ke ngokubamba ngathole wena.
Out uzangenelela. Mina ngicela wami umtshele siyahamba.
Because I want the situation bad, man. I get down.
As a human being, if you can't know when it's not your fight, you will have You must know when it's your fight, when it's not your fight. That one was not my fight. That girl got child. That nigga got child. My girl won't get child. I'm living with her. We are bouncing.
Because now my mates are going to be better. My mates are going to be better now. Now who's a ring by paying my mail, man? I think I'm a little must buy. I think Tata Noel.
Look, I'm not out, you know. Low arm, Ufunung and Yelel. Yabuz Bauyap. Hi, body. Was up on the Lumpa.
Yeah.
Call it for the louder than I'm not looking back. That's
and then there. Yeah, it's a basically the two girl.
The out is respond physically, and then what? Then Joshua Pana will try to level up. What if he knocks me out, you know?
Like 3 hours, guys.
You must be able to separate fight ya Lungelo.
So the beti yakho biyile yayoringa mhlawumbe yaqabana letsotsi yamhendlisha wena yasijonga mos ba yabo bandile ngaba sisimoko nakunlewi enyo isimoko nale methi anincanyo fane one man digrenda apha man dingashinda on fries askis bomso.
No, I didn't think it like that, Mamela. I didn't think it like that. The way I thought about it was, hey, le met Lena, he additional out. Lady out, let me talk about it's a parameter for men up argument.
And
is it's a parameter yona. If you know chopa, if you come to verbal.
Yeah.
The out, young as the sport, maybe talk when you change. But once we are out,
it's ultimately, yeah.
It's ultimately out. It's ultimately strong when I buy
yeah.
Kunokwa out lay out.
Yeah.
Kunokwa out lay out. Lo amaphakama lempinga ngesandla imasibethe.
Kaloku bavela lapho mhlawumbi xa kucinywa umjita le methi yakho izawufika apha kuwe bayise khambe sokuthethane tsotsi.
Exactly.
Ngela xesha wena ke ngoku uyayibamba bayise joma beke.
Ukubona
itransini. Usothatha iigloves zam etransini man ndizakwazi uyibetha kagrand. Xa ufika etransini utika itransi ushiya indawo.
Ukubona ilaluka Lungelo ekasi endlu nezinja enje zikhongotha kakhulu azilumi. But noziyenzayo zenzela le ilumayo ivuke okanye ive. Mina kana benze YouTube lokhula kwami. uBobby noBlack. uBobby is noisy. Njoqala. uBlack kusihamba la wini. Hawu. Aluma yona. Akhongothi kakhulu. Mothe ezinje ezincane ezikhongotha kakhulu. Azilumi. Elumayo ilivuswayo. Lincinci ivusa leleyo. Inkonxotho ngale
Yeah.
ipheli 20 minutes. Kuthi linkulu ize ke ngoku. Dani ke ngobomba yane lekubizwa li. Wathi fika linkulu inja ngoku hayi linciwesi ke ngoku. Yo, iyazifila. Iyazifila. Left right and
Yeah.
center baba. Iyazifila
Yeah.
sana. That's a
Yeah.
thing. So
Hayi you have asibalekile nje yafi. Andifuna uba wesekasi ikasi iwe nje kaloku. Iwe ayona fighter namhlanje. Yeah, thatha uqhoqa ndibana nawe endleleni. Yifair. And then isibongo ngisiba esikhathini mhlawumbe uzohlukana lemedi. But seyifair yakho. Uyayibona. That's why ukuphethe inkomo yasijonga mamela wena. Ba uzuba right. Sawuphinde hlangane ngomso man.
son, because Lungelo, I'm
Ucishe
telling you
liwaza
for 3 years.
mfethu.
I've seen abantu.
Hola, how's it?
I've seen abantu abangena fights because i-girlfriend yakhe talks too much. Angena fight umuntu. After ngena fight, I knock her out. A month later, we have to break up with the girlfriend. Une blue eye, une cracked lip. Yabo, uchama painkillers, nama antibiotics. Ube, une after effects, the fight, so lifelong partner yakhe. That's for the girlfriend. Shela bathi benayo namhlanje efuna uhamba naye ngenkani.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
woman amlotheli.
Ahlatywe kayadutshulwe.
Kahlatywe. No, abasoleke. Aphile but abe nescarf esithi wajoin ubani.
Aphinde ashiye because akholela ngoku. Aphinde ashiye. Ashiye ngoba yakholela. Yeah. Yeah.
Yebo, unescarface mo. Une-body paint, unamanxeba emela emzimbeni. Itheni adibene naye last month okanye azokuhlukana naye the following day, the following month. Do you think na awusena ufuna uphethe imela okapi for the girlfriend for into bendithemba ngayeke? Because if ndithi kuwe baby yeke le out man. Uyanyuka wena. Baby.
Yeah.
Noba ungayi noma irongo la out. So ilawe kwenzeka lokho. Ono taxi and you know taxi because no taxi bala in groups. Like isolate bazona taxi then. Girlfriend wakho uyoba tsarag eTexini in the middle of nowhere. Imizi taxi ihlikani.
Yo, yayiva lo
Network. Akho network ihlikani. Uzawuthini? Umxelele babhethi ngicela uthethe manje because hey yabazi bathi manjani avale lamajita. Yakanye awuyiki into aggressive. Yabo. So bangabe aggressive to apha vala umlomo wakho. Xa ufuna kanti ingekho mna ke because ngoku uzanibethisa kanye ngizawubethwa bendiqandele. People always think hayi kaloku akanondibetha anganya uzanya sekubethile nje na kanye bethe nami ke ngoku ngayo ba umuntu akanonto ezibethile mna this South Africa whatever he does to you izoba after eyakhe i-result eyenza into ebesitho la azoyenza kuwe ilawe bathi umuntu betha kaloku betha kontini awuzola but makabethe what's the point? Do you have to feel pain? Ilayo kamzekelo abahlali xa bebambe i-criminal. Kukho criminal is clever. Abethele betho Lungelo athi ngicela bazibe izinto. I know. I gave it to one to Poto, I gave it to Lungelo on TV, I gave it to Bulelani in the microwave. Before abetho. Abanye aqala betho qala inthiwe koma Lungelo. Apha life akungakho life wakhe. Yeah, I gave Lungelo the plasma. I gave Poto the TV. The microwave. I gave fridge to Bulelani. So what's the point? Why must we be to like if you are smart, the smartest people actually don't treat conditions, they prevent them.
Yeah.
If they tell you exercise, swim, go out, that prevents a lot of things. It does find stress, diabetes, high blood pressure. Those are the smartest people. The dumb ones will do all these negative things, all this unhealthy lifestyle. And then the problem is okay, I follow treat. The problem is with treating is in Ngoku as Belihu, as in as
It's too late. It's too late.
Yeah.
Yes, I always used to think that.
I know I'll lose one. Or number two, if you might win the fight, it won't end today. Number three, I really don't want to fight for you. Like I can fight for my man.
That's exactly the point. It's exactly those points. Is that even if you're with your girl and then this guy says something, or even if it's a woman, and you can even even if that Bana, you can beat this person up, it's not your fight. You should not do that, because if you do that, then she's only going to come and give you lunch at jail. Yeah, well, if she's even there. So then why would you
Exactly.
get yourself even in that position? Because as soon as you get beat up, she leaves you. If you beat that guy up, now you're a lifelong
No,
enemy to this person.
not only
And
the,
this person might even leave you.
not only does she leave you, not only does she leave you when you get beat up. It's natural. She gets attracted to the guy that moved you because that's the guy now who can offer a better security. Now,
Imagine, bro.
now that guy is gonna be the one. She's gonna be, she's gonna be massaging that guy's knuckles there after
Knuckles
they.
with, with your
So,
with your skin on them.
she's be feeling your skin on his knuckles there, and then whether you.
Crazy, bro.
So the best way, but I think currently we have learned not to know how to handle. Well, I would use the word handle. How to handle our women, how to work with our women, so that we don't get into situations. I've seen guys working with their girlfriends, and then the woman will be working. The woman will be working 5 steps ahead, and then the guy will be following behind the and then or or you find that the wife is working and then she's following behind. And then if you check that, that's a wrong way of doing it, because if you are walking with your girlfriend and then you are behind her and then she's in front, she's basically isolated. If another man angamshela lapha, and then you never know what's gonna happen. Maybe she's not gonna like it, she's gonna be angry, and then now she's gonna start fights that you have to get involved in because she's your girlfriend. But if you walk ahead with her, and if you walk in front of her and then she walks, she sort of shields behind you. There's no man, no one ever is caressing a gun. There's no man who goes around sharing the girl. It's very, very rare. That's very rare. So the way that we walk with our partners also, now they like to walk too fast and then ahead of the men. And then I mean even a sheep in a lamb knows walking too much in front of the sheep can actually put it in danger, because in danger of the predator. It has to be close so that it can be shielded. So that's what happens. And then I can't tell you how many times have I seen, or have I tried to make a move on a woman only to find out that the boyfriend is behind, or maybe the boyfriend is walking. And then after seeing the boyfriend, then I'll be like, oh, okay, then she's with someone. But then the way that is happening, you can see it. There's really no order, and then we're sort of not taught how to actually handle ourselves.
It's a matter of time until you actually make that move and then there's no one behind them.
Yeah, you see.
So the thing is, for me, I'm not gonna lie to you. For me, I've learned one thing, but over the years, you must be able to analyze situation at different places. At a tavern, at a restaurant, in a township, etc. You can't have the same approach. Approach, because that's the norm, but that's expected, or that's not abnormal. Now imagine doing the same thing now. Let's say baby, tell me up and tell me I bo. Won't do that song. Fucking night for me, but now she feels like obligated to respond to you in a way that she puts you in your place, right? Number 2. And then at a mall, we have approached or something. Yeah, that's a thing. That's keeping, that's approaching. And then again, if ebe hamba nomuntu kaka umbone a tavern, you don't even say anything, you just pass by. Or can
yeah.
As a student, yeah, boy, I apologize. Solomon, I thought you were someone else. Or maybe you look familiar. Aren't you Jessica or Michaela, something like that? You get what I'm saying? You can make excuses as a student, etc. Now, some more, I'm the funnies or something like that. Yeah, but at times, where you make a mistake, yeah, but the other gender or the other group made a mistake. But when on your own side, there isn't any need, in my view, there isn't any need about violent because that's outcome meeting. If I know now,
Uzomisi charinga brabis, uzomisi charinga brabis, and then brabis is okay.
Yeah. So yeah, but for me, if I approach Umdune and I see the guy is angry, Muna, I don't put my needs for apologizing. I'll apologize to this nigga. I'm sorry, man, mistake. I thought she was what, or I'm sorry, move on. I'm a cheater and a pride, I'm a simba. You see that this one is gonna end in a fight. One. Number two, you are likely to lose this fight. But you'll still progressing who are Jewish. There are people
It is that
situations with you. Yeah, but Lungelo, with you, I can respond a different way. But with a guy that I know is full of shit, I will not respond the same way, even though it's the same context. Because I know I'm coming to fight. I don't want to fight him. I don't want to fight. It has to be extremely necessary. Okay, in a defense mode to get a fight. I will not provoke anyone to fight with. Yeah, but
that's the thing. Is that, it's that even in your fights, you pick them. So how much more if someone else wants you to get into a fight that they've picked, regardless of who they are?
Mona, listen, the guys who will argue with you, while arguing with you, they take off your head, their head. You know it's love. That guy is ready.
Yeah, it's finished now.
He wants to show you.
Yeah.
While they're talking, he just take off your head. I take off his head. That's not about to
go his jacket. His jacket and his watch. Then you know.
He said, what?
Wait,
he takes his glasses off. He takes his glasses. Then you're dealing with the porter.
You see the real person now.
When you take his glasses off, you know that at least I can win because you won't be able to see. Except for I wanted us to finish off that the talk that we were having yesterday about the whole Lobola thing. I lost all of that. I was thinking about it today. So Lobola and the invoice. I want you to spit that bar, that whole song again, boy. That was fire. That was fire, man. That was fire. Perfect, boy.
Hey, they are fighting. I'm sure the ladies are fighting. They don't like hearing these stories because they are not very good stories for them to hear. So I understand. So
you're saying that if when a female has a baby and the person that they have a baby with does not pay for that baby or does not take care of that girl and that baby, you should not be able to. You should not pay for it. Because you hear how
you should be paid. You should be incentivized for that.
You should be the one incentivized.
The same way we treat how we treat orphans and taxation. Like if you do, I get you know that you get some tax incentives when you donate to maybe some old age home or some orphanage and all that. So there's benefits that encourage people into doing that. We don't tax people more even after they do that. So why are we going to do that on family? And West, we want to build. Remember, our goal is to build. We want to build communities. Why do we punish the guy who's going to build and then leave the one who just destroyed? And then he free. And then he goes and then he does the same thing all over the place and doesn't pay anything. And then someone who's coming now to pick up the pieces, no, you are a very nice one. You must pay you. And then from there, then we punish that one. Why? Is that fair? It's not fair. It's really not fair. So you're not like that. They must just accept it. It must be must be updated in whatever laws that they want to update it. That whenever a man marries a woman who has got a child with another man, and then that man did not pay any lobola or something, that man should actually marry that woman, should be given that woman for free. He must take it.
You said she should be given a discount.
Yes, not
that
a
discount
discount,
should be 100%.
100%
discount.
Yes.
And then also on top of that should be actually given something because he's there to help.
He must be paid. Because he's doing something that even the father of the child does not want to do.
Yeah, so he should be given something because he's there to help.
Yes. Instead of being punished. I mean, right now they're getting punished. That's why for me it really doesn't. It's the highest level of simping for me to actually pay for that. To agree to paying for that. In fact, I should actually offer negotiation services on these issues, and then say, okay, I can get paid. I can get a cut. You don't have to pay me anything. You don't have to pay me anything. I will get a cut from the family that we are going to negotiate from. And basically, I'm going to try to get them to pay you who's expected to be coming to pay. And then from there I can get my cut from there. You see. So that's because it's the highest level of simping. You should not do that. You should not do
and as we said again before, to make it clear is that it's the same the other way around. So in cultures where the female is the one that is expected to pay in terms of marriage, dowry, or anything like that, if a guy comes into the relationship with another person, so a child, then they're actually bringing a cost to that relationship. Therefore, because then the woman has to take care of that, and therefore he should be paying her instead of the other way around.
Yes, but I agree with that. And then, but now there's one thing that I need to understand about the cultures that actually there are cultures where a woman has to be the one paying. I would like to know, why are they paying? What's the reasoning behind the payment? Because from what I understand, you can correct me. From what I understand is that the man's family is like, or the family from the side of the men is like a company. So you can say that a company, an organization, a company. So for this woman to come into this family, to buy into this family, she then has to do what? She then has to sort of pay shares, like buy shares into this family, meaning like she has to buy into this family. And then that is not patriarchal, but our way of lobola is quite patriarchal. We are here to take this woman and then make her our part of our family, and then we are going to then give you cows. But then from the reasoning on the other side, you can correct me on that. I don't know the depth of how, for example, the Hindu people who do that. What exactly is the reasoning behind that? Because I can only talk from my side, because in my side I understand that it's quite patriarchal. It's clear, and then I prefer, as I said, I'm a proud patriarch. I embrace that. I was raised by a patriarch. My granddad was a patriarch. My father was a patriarch. He's a patriarch. And then I'm raised to be a patriarch. And I've not found any reason to actually question. I've not found any reason to actually follow something better, because I've not found something better that can say that, oh, okay, this one you can take this route. For me, this still makes sense, and then nothing new has been introduced to actually beat that. That's why I'm against, for example, this whole equality, one thing, no gender role and stuff like that. Because I grew up in a family whereby there are gender roles. There is no equality. We know that my dad is boss, and then is boss, and then he also has the responsibility to lead, and then he took that responsibility and embraced it. So now, is that setup. But then is it Indians, the Indians or the Hindis, whatever, how, I'm not so sure. But then I hope that someone who understands that the reasoning behind the payment could, okay, when they say that the certain family is paying, is the girl is paying, what exactly is she paying for?
I have no idea, to be honest. Let me give you my response then. I have no idea, first of all, about the other cultures. I just know about my culture, about black people, the reason behind it. But in terms of observation, maybe in their side, the way in which the male was viewed and the female was viewed was not the way we view males and females, right? In terms of like the importance in society, what they can offer into the work world, and also the expectations in terms of lifetime or the opportunities given to them. Yeah, but obviously this is basically what I can deduce from that. There's no fundamental reason because I don't know the cultures or know the history of the culture. Yeah, but for example, with us, let me give you an example with us, which I do know. Yeah, but with us, the family values were based on the woman getting married. The family's amount or cost or how much they're gonna charge you was based if the woman is a virgin or not, first of all. Because remember, according to the Sharia, right? Virginity testing. The value of someone who's a virgin was higher than the value of someone who's not a virgin. The value of someone who doesn't have a child was higher than the value of someone who's with a child. The value of someone who's been married before was lower than the value of someone who's never been married before. The value of royalty, family background, amount of wealth the family has was higher than someone value of a woman whose family is poor. Yeah, but you understand that? Those are the 4 reasons for our side that it used to be the. But now the problem is you are meeting people who've got 2 children, who's not educated, comes from a poor family. Now they want to put the same standard as someone basically who has all those tick box on, and then try to say, I've raised children. Who was supposed to raise the child, can't? You know, a father will tell you,
I think
I've raised the child.
I think on that side, as I say, on that side, I understand what you're saying, and then it is true. But I think the value of everything is determined by the one who's willing to pay for it.
No, it wasn't. It still isn't. In negotiations, it's not.
Yeah.
Negotiations, for example, I can, let's say, Porto, you've got a sister, right? I can send my 3 uncles and my father to go and negotiate with your family. If the father says, I'm not accepting 50,000, I want 70,000, what do you think my family is going to do? They're going to come back and tell me, hey, my man, they are refusing. Increase the money. It's called negotiations, but it's not negotiations.
Yeah, but
the woman is the one that gives the choices.
But what if I say I don't? What if I say that? What if I say that with according to me, the value of this woman is 2 cows. Anything more than that, I'm gonna leave and go find another woman.
So I think that's where.
Yeah, but then why don't I say that? Because I'm the one.
Lungelo, because you are the one who sent family members to go and ask for their permission to marry that daughter. If the family says no, it's not enough. I don't think it
doesn't. Yeah, but
yeah, so I think.
Yeah, it doesn't matter because what I'm saying is that it doesn't necessarily matter what they say their daughter is. It's like a car. If a car is at the parking lot, the owner of this car says this car is 2 million, and then I come and then I offer 200,000, and then he says no, this is 2 million, and then I leave. Another person comes and says no, I have 200,000 for this car, and then he says no, 2 million, and he leaves. That car will stay there for 10 years as long as all the other people say that, as long as all the other people, the buyers, are saying that I will. So it's a buyer's market, because at the end of the day, as long as all the buyers are saying that, okay, we are willing to pay this, and then we are willing to pay 200,000, not 2 million, until the owner, the father, the owner of the car decides that, you know what, I think I've overpriced this product. And then because it's a buyer's market, they decide what the price is. It's not a seller's market. This is an abundant resource. It's not like it's a scarce resource currently.
So I think that's
what you are saying.
right?
In an ideal world, it would be like that. Lungelo, in an ideal world, it would be like that. But it's not.
No, I disagree with you. Only Sims can actually put themselves in that corner, because it is. That is why. Okay, if it is not like that in an ideal world, why is it then that some guy then decides that I'm not even gonna pay shit? I'm just gonna get this girl pregnant and not pay shit and leave.
Because you don't agree with you.
Yeah. So you see that as much as we are trying to negotiate the price of someone, some guy who doesn't give a damn can then say, no, you guys are still arguing about the price of this. I'm gonna take it for free and then dump it after that.
Yes, you can do that.
You and I so that's why I'm saying that the ideal world, there may be two parallel worlds here, and then one world is that there's some guy that's gonna decide that if currently what we are arguing about, it's really I think that's the reason why I disagree with you, because what we are arguing about, it's really not there. It's, in fact, my perspective wins. If we are arguing, my perspective, the way I look at things wins, because you can decide that your daughter is 12 cows, but then if your daughter then gives in to some guy, some boy that's gonna get her pregnant for free, your 12 cows, the 12 cows that you want are useless. And then any man can then decide, unless that man is like he's some pussy whipped guy that wants pussy so much, but then any man can then decide that you get her for free, and then you want me to pay.
They still want to. No, I'm not saying it's a good thing, but I'm telling you what happens. I'm telling you what happens. The family of the female will say to you, we want 10 to 12 cows, non-negotiable. You come and argue that you're gonna pay for 9 cows. They say no. You go back to your son, hey, my boy.
This is why they need me.
Your boy wants to
That is why they need you, boy.
This is why they need me. This is why they need me, because that's where I come in. That's where I come in and humble the family, because sometimes the family is not humble enough to see this. That's where they need me, because I come and then I tell them that, you know what, guys, you want this, we are gonna leave you here and then go and get a younger, hotter woman, and then you can have this magogo that you have here, and then you can keep her as long as you want to keep her. But then now we are leaving now. See, I've got kids, and they've got nice daughters there, well groomed, and then they are younger, and then they want they're gonna want 6 cows.
I think that's where you get your answer. I think that's where you get your answer for the Hindi people, the Hindu people.
Yeah,
I'll ask about it again tomorrow at work, but I think that's where you get your answer from, is the fact that then the other family then knows that at some point my daughter is not going to be, it's not always going to be of that value or wanted. So they understand that then they will get to a point where they're 38, 40, can't have kids, and therefore they will not then be wanted by any guy, or at least wanted to start a family. Right. Yes. So therefore the male is then a commodity, so that then whenever they then have to sell their daughter to a male, because however old that male is, they'll be able to start a family.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think that's where then that switch happens, where they then say, okay, I understand it from the Xhosa perspective or the Western perspective.
Now that you are saying that, then it cancels everything about that we are saying about the opposites. That means now the woman on the other side still has to pay, even if the guy has got kids.
Yes.
Because now you are saying that the guy is on a much higher demand. The guy is much on a higher demand, because the guy can still be able to produce kids, regardless of whether this woman will hit menopause at 40 and no longer produce kids. So it is actually beneficial for them to actually even bribe the family, pay the family, so that they can be able to accept this daughter, regardless of whether that. But then on boys, it does not apply like that. We are not the opposite. We are not the same.
Yeah. So exactly that. So then I'll find out again exactly what the other reasons are, but
Yeah.
that highly probable is the fact that you as a father know that if you have a daughter, it's also actually sometimes in the Arabic culture as well, where you know that if you have a daughter, you only have up until a certain point whereby
Yeah.
you can then say, okay, well then my daughter's not going to be married, and that might then bring a certain level of what do you call this, disdain to the family. So then you
Yeah.
say, okay, well that means that then I need to then sell my daughter instead of waiting for other people to come, because those
Yeah.
guys will just wait and they'll wait and they'll wait and they'll wait and they'll wait. Either
Yes.
they'll make a move or they'll wait for someone to come. But your daughter can't just wait and wait and wait
Yeah.
and wait.
You now see those are men. Those are not sims. Those are men. Why? That is why they were able enough to actually own up their being and then be able to actually convince the society realistically so that we are actually worth more than you. That's why you have to pay for us. But then we on the other side, we want to pay 13 cows for a woman who has got 2 kids with another man who paid nothing.
Or different men.
Yes, different men. So that is my point, that it doesn't right now. If a woman, that's why I'm saying that's where I come in, because if I go with you and then we are going to marry, you send me there, okay, man, go there, help my uncles negotiate for me there. If I get there and then they say something like that, I will tell them, I will humble them immediately that, you know what, there's 5 other women that look like it. Have you seen Instagram? Almost all women in Instagram look the same.
You show her this live first. Please watch this live, and then show her the other girls on the Instagram.
you see, you see, they all look the same, and then that the reason why they come
on Instagram, they sell themselves.
Yes,
but then in real life, you then need to buy.
You
exactly.
See? You
must
see,
pay.
So that is what happens, and then that's why I'm saying that's where I come in. And then if I were to get involved, I'm telling you, the prices of lobola would all go down. Will all go down, because you would be realistic about it. That your daughter has got 6 kids. Yes, we understand that your daughter is educated. She has got 6 degrees, but then your daughter is 39.
Exactly.
I want to start a family. I cannot start a family with someone who's 39. I'm gonna have only 1 child safely. I can only safely have 1 child. After that, she's gonna be hitting menopause. Then the price that you are charging is too high, even with those degrees. And at the end of the day, degrees are things that are up for grabs for anyone. Anyone can get degrees if he works, and then it's not like degrees are exclusive to certain people. You see, anyone who wants to get a degree can be able to go and enroll and then work hard and get that degree. But then it does not happen like that with kids, with children. It's not happen like for a 39-year-old woman.
It's limited. It's very limited.
And a 21-year-old woman, there's a huge difference there. A huge.
Here's another thing that actually solves in those cultures is the fact that then women then do not blame men for when they do fall pregnant and get left.
Where in those cultures?
Yeah. Because they understand that then they have to be at a certain, they need to take responsibility for their own selves and for their own value, so that then they can be sold, or they then can be whatever you want to call it, whatever word it is, that then whenever they go to another family, they are the best market value possible. Right? But if you have it the other way around, what happens is then they say, okay, cool, well then a guy can come impregnate you, but then it's still the other guy that needs to pay. So it's fine if I have a baby. It's fine if I have a kid out of wedlock, because he still has to come and pay for me regardless. I'm not losing anything. Whereas in the other culture, that's the opposite thing, where they say, okay, well look, if you then have a baby out of wedlock and you keep that baby, or whatever, you engage in unprotected sex, then your value decreases. And then as soon as that happens, we won't be able to then go to have you married to another guy, because they will not then want you. And then as time goes by, you end up anyway a single parent.
Yes.
It also cancels that out as well if you look at it on the opposite way.
Yes.
Then you will stop this whole thing of, oh, okay, because also what we're also kind of encouraging is to say, well, look, you're a female, and therefore if you're a female, you can have all the sex in the world and you can be unprotected as much as possible. And then if you have a guy and you're not married to him, then he is supposed to always stay with you, with that baby, even if he tells you that he doesn't want that child, even if he tells you that, look, I don't ever want kids, but I want unprotected sex, right? And then you have sex with him, and then what happens? And then the consequence lands up on your side. So then those cultures understand that the consequences land up on your side. So they then make sure that the female doesn't then partake in that.
It's
So
like,
now what happens
Lungelo,
with,
you just remind me of something. It's like, in South Africans, like us, basically, most guys will tell the woman, I don't want a child with you. Can you do an abortion? She says yes. And then you give her money to buy an abortion pills or to go to thingy to do an abortion, right? 6 months later, she tells you, I didn't do an abortion. I'm 6 months pregnant.
Because McDonald's, but she charged the money. But she charged the money. She bought a pizza, a triple decker pizza, and then she added some cheese. She added extra cheese on top of it. And
No,
then,
the
and
baby
then,
comes out for
well,
so
the
now,
yeah, and when it stretches, you can see that it stretches there. And then now she charged your money, and then she robbed you. She robbed you of your money, and then so now you're
and of your life, and of your life.
Crossed. Yeah.
Yeah, and of your life as well. Which you can then say maybe you also robbed yourself of that life because you partook in that. But then it's like, okay, fair enough. You can say that. But at the end of the day, it's like, I told you what I want, right? I told you that I cannot do this. And you now go and then this is the thing, what happens is then you band together, right? Then the people that then, let's say, the people that were married, right? And the guy said, look, I want to have a baby, and had the baby and then left. It's like they then band with the people that say, well, weren't married, never were married, had unprotected sex once. The guy said, I don't want to have a baby with you, and he left. They then band together all of a sudden on some like, no, it's still their responsibility, as if you don't know that the person did not want the baby to begin with. And then they band together with the other people that have sex for the first time and have unprotected sex and have a baby, because they then feel, and then the guy disappears because then they feel like, no, look, this is the way that it should be. And then they all say, oh, all these guys are deadbeats. It's like, no, not really, because what then happens as well is that then all those females, as they band together, they then also tend to leave and go and live somewhere else and do other things and try to look after their life, and then take those kids and give it to their parents. Then it's like, then who raised these kids? It's not you. So you then as a female a deadbeat? How are you any different to the guy that's not there? Because you both didn't raise this kid. And your parents did. This kid doesn't even refer to you as the mother. It refers as the grandmother as the mother, and you by name. But then you want to call someone else a deadbeat. Then you form little gangs and little fractions, and then you go on social medias and you do all sorts of things. And then you wonder why you never get responses from guys, because what are they going to say to you? If you don't even understand that, how would you understand anything that the guy can ever say to you?
What I'm trying to get at, Lungelo, is the point is now the baby is born. Now you're obliged to support this baby, to get payment each month, child support. But you told the woman to do an abortion. And they said, no, it's fine, I'll raise my baby. She's going to say that when she wants the child, right? Now the child is born. Now you've got the police in your door saying that you must pay for the child and you get arrested.
There's something that I want to know. Is it possible for a man in South Africa to say that, okay, I had a child, I got this woman pregnant, and then because she said it was an accident, I also say it was an accident. So because it cannot be an accident on one side, it has to be an accident on both sides. And then I say that it's an accident as well, and then I don't want this baby. But because I don't want this baby, and then I will do what? I will donate this baby to the mother. Because I don't want this baby. I was not ready to have a child. I will donate this baby to the mother if she wants it. And then if she does not want her, she can then donate the child to whatever orphanage or whatever family that of her choice. Right?
Yeah.
Or maybe
you can sign your rights away.
Yes.
No,
So I
You can
think
in terms
sign
of
your rights
law,
away, but
you can't do
yeah.
that.
So the law, yeah. So the law, the way that it is that then it doesn't matter. They don't care about both of you because the fact that you even engage in unprotected sex, being not married, already says a lot about both of you. So they don't care about you. They care about the person that they need to then support if you guys are not supporting, right? So therefore, they say, look, I don't care who's there. You just pay. You pay. She pays. That's it, right? That's the first thing. Otherwise, if one of you guys agrees to then sell your rights away, then you can still sell your rights away. But then that still comes as the fact that that then you sign your rights away, you cannot come back. Therefore, you then probably don't have to then pay whatever you need to pay because you paid everything away. Right? Or I mean, you've signed everything
you
away.
stand away.
But then
Yeah.
more often than not, the one person will say, "Well, no, well, that means that then I'll still have to pay everything." So I don't want you to sign your rights away. You don't have to be here, but then still pay. You see, so
The
I
thing
can
is,
understand it from that viewpoint of the state to say, look, you did this, but then it becomes
Yeah.
our mess.
Yeah.
It becomes us to clean up.
Yeah. But here's the question. You sign the rights away. She also has the rights to sign the rights away.
Yes, then you can give it up for abortion. I mean, for
So,
adoption.
yeah.
adoption.
So why are you paying because she says no?
No, but look, so because at the end of the day, the state looks at it like this: if the state has to pay, then because they stand for the child. If they need to pay, they say no, we're not going to do that. You both will pay. You negotiate who will pay what, and that's up to you.
Mm.
Because them paying is then other people's payments and so on and so forth. That encourages you, obviously, for them to be paying. You see, so I
This
can
is
understand it from that point of view.
this is
But that's
going
what
to
I'm
go
saying is
down.
that
It's going
yeah.
to
So
go
that's what
down
I'm
as
saying.
one of the most sinister topics to be discussed because it's as if now we are discussing the child support baby.
No, yeah. Well, that's
The thing
hard.
is, you must
That's
understand, boss,
impossible.
the system is
Because
designed in one way only.
protect the child.
Someone must pay for the child. How the system is
Yeah,
designed. So when they look
yeah,
at it basically, if the mother of the child is not working and you are working as a maid, but you're not together anymore, your wife now would choose a different woman. They are legally binded to tell you pay for the child. And we don't understand this. When you don't
yeah.
pay for that child, and
It's a
actually
problem.
the court orders investigation on your payment, it's painful
Yeah,
because it goes up to 20% of your salary to that child. And you don't want that. So I always advise people, hey man, to avoid pressure and everything else, just fucking pay the mother whatever you can. Because if she
yeah.
goes
But
forward with you, and then you get
yeah,
a subpoena of some kind, or you go actually they investigate basically your case. They find out you're getting, let's say, 20,000 a month. They actually will take 20% of your salary. If you have
yeah,
20% currently, they can go into your savings. They are
yeah,
legally binded to do that. I know that because it
yeah,
happened to my cousin, right? The
yeah,
boyfriend paid for about 9 months, basically. So they look how much did the child cost in terms of school? How much did the child cost transport-wise, etc.? They took about 81,000 from that guy's salary for 10 months. I don't know how they calculated it. They took 81,000 rands from that guy's salary. Yeah, from that guy's savings. Yeah, but because he's working, he's gonna pay, he doesn't take the mother anymore, or he wants to go back with the mother before he pays. Yeah, but so the system is planned like that. The only time they don't want you to pay is when the baby is already adopted, right? And then
or adopted or over the age where they can take care of themselves, or either 18 or 21,
exactly,
or if
exactly.
you're not working.
It's like what 50 Cent did. Did you see what 50 Cent did from America? 50 Cent, the singer. He had a similar arrangement. He told the mother, listen, don't call me, don't talk to me, I'll support the child. There is no communication between me and the mother. Whatever happens to the child, I want to know. Just tell me the child is in hospital, I'll pay for the bill. I don't want to be involved. I have nothing I want to say to you or the child. I'll pay until the child becomes of 18, and then I'm taking your number. I'm taking the child's number. Do you
Yeah,
get what I'm saying?
so this is the interesting part, right? That's exactly when then guys then say, oh, okay. Because you get to a certain point as a guy where you go, well, working is status for me. So I need to work. But now if I'm working for something that I didn't even ever want, and this person then put this there for me, even after I've told her, then I'll either then work against it. Right? Almost like a job, right? Like if you don't like your boss, but you still need to do work. It's like you understand that you need to do work to get paid, but then what do? You then will turn against everything else. You'll be the most difficult person to work with. You won't obviously do your best, all of that thing. That's when guys then say, cool, you know what? I'm going to quit my job. Or I'm going to take the lowest paying job that I can get just for this. Because now you can't fight against the law, but you can amend whatever you're going to do on your own self. Right? And
That's
that's
why,
generally
Lungen, that's why independent or entrepreneurs don't really pay for child support, because there is no record anything that how much they are making. For example, the taxi driver. A taxi driver, you don't know how much they are making. You can only depend on what they tell you. So you can't charge them. You are not
So
legally
this is-
binded to charge someone who's not working. You can only charge me because I've got a white collar job that's paying and that's paying
I've
every
been
month.
working for myself. I've been working for myself for what? For 6 years now. Close to 6 years. And I've been paying myself 5,000. My salary has never increased.
You see, that's the only way you can pay off or not pay at all. Is if you
My salary has never increased. It has remained like that. And it's going to remain like that for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, so I mean, look, so that's exactly what happens then, right? Is that then you as a guy generally will then be left with those options to say, well, the harder I work, the more that it gets taken. It's like it's like tax. The harder I work, the more it gets taken. It goes to a place where this is not even benefiting me because I'm not even part of this, right? And then let's say the female takes that as a win. Let's say that. Okay, cool. Well, this is exactly what I wanted. I wanted someone to actually then be able to help me with what I'm doing. What then actually ends up happening in the long run is that they realize that then there's going to come a point where the guy doesn't have to pay anymore, right? And then what's actually more important there is that what relationship did this person then have with the person that would have with the baby? And how are you going to explain that to that person? So is it then better to actually not have that person at all? Or to have that person as someone that can keep paying, but then he knows that then in the future I can always come back and say, hey, listen, I'm back now. I've paid for this as well. I did half of my job, and now this is the shit that you're going to get for it. And then is that worth the payments that you're then going to get? Especially when you push them to the point whereby you try to make their lives miserable. You're going to tell me that those guys are not going to try and come back and make your life miserable too? Including the child that you then gave to them that they didn't want, or I mean, that they didn't want to begin with. Of course they will, right? So they're going to come back with the same vigor, if not more, than what you then came to them for, because you're going to do that for 18 to 21 years.
Yeah, that's bad.
And that's the issue with it, right? That's the issue. So as much as you find that females will then fight over it now and fight over, oh, well, this, it's like, okay, yes, fair enough. Right, but do you think this over 15 after 20 years, this is not going to come back to bite you? Then that child will become the person that you became.
Yeah.
Because the father doesn't care. He never said he cared. But then you decided, okay, cool.
He told you to watching, you didn't want to. Now you're making him pay for something that he told you not to do. You get what I'm saying? That pisses me off.
Yes, and I mean, look, and you have every right to, right? You have every right to as the woman as well, because it's your body, right? Which is why I'm saying again is that this is where it goes back to what we're saying with the courts and back in the beginning to say that when you want shared responsibility, it's very difficult to ask for that if you do not have shared consequences. Yeah. So if you don't have shared consequences over whatever you have, right, then you should then take more responsibility of that. Because if you don't, then fine, fair enough, you will bear the consequences in the beginning. And you will then transfer those consequences to the male in that 20 years, right? Generally speaking. But then after those 20 years, then that male will then say, okay, cool, it's my turn. And you fucked my whole life up for 20 years, what do you think is going to happen to you and your child? So that's the problem. Is that then the solution better than what? What is it called? Or is the side effect better than the cure? That's why.
Prevention is better than cure. I can tell you, prevention is better than cure. If you
Yes.
listen to him and you did the abortion, you wouldn't be in this place. Because most of the time, you break up with this guy while you're still pregnant, and you still continue with the baby, and you know you're all sleeping together. So how are you gonna be? You're gonna be bitter, right? So be bitter towards this guy. So if you're bitter towards this guy, what do you think will happen?
I also understand it from the female point of view of, well, it breaks me to have the abortion, or it breaks me to go through the pregnancy.
Then don't tell me anything about the pregnancy and your baby. Continue to be unbreakable. Because it's like,
so that's what I'm saying. This is exactly what I'm saying. I can understand it from that point of view, to say, look, it's your body. You can do what you need to do, and you need to do what you have to do, because it's your body, and it's you that's going to have to live with whatever that you have to live with. But then the consequences of that is exactly then what I'm saying. Is that then if you're willing to take it, then cool, fair enough. But then it's not going to be only you taking it. It's going to be you and that child. It's not just you anymore. Yeah, so it's like that conversation that we had now about violence. It's like, like if you piss me off and I punch you in the face, like, you can understand why I'm punching you in the face, because I'm really mad at you, right? But then then the question is, well, then me punching you in the face, am I then able to then spend 10 years or whatever, 5 years in jail, whatever it is, or sue you? Like, if you're comfortable with that, then fine, by all means I can punch you in the face if I'm comfortable with that. But if I'm not, then I need to know that the action that I'm then going to partake in the short term might not actually be better in the long term. And then especially in something like that, is that it doesn't only just become your problem. It becomes your problem and the person that you then put in the world a problem. Put in the world's problem.
I agree completely with that.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. The same thing. I have often heard, for example, women say, I would go for what do you call it? Artificial insemination, whereby they don't necessarily need a man that's gonna get maybe a sperm donor, and then the sperm then is gonna be whatever injected in her eggs or whatever the process. But now I think the problem at that time is that at the moment they are basically looking at the child as a pet. They don't really, at the moment, they're not thinking of the child as someone who's gonna come, grow up, and ask questions. For example, when the child turns 18 or 13 or whatever, they're gonna start asking questions. And then the very bizarre manner in which he came into the world it's not going to be something that the child likes. I mean, do you think that I'm gonna like the fact that you pick me from some strange semen sample, and then you don't know probably don't even know my dad. I don't know my dad, because you just knew, or you were told about a brief history of his physical appearance and maybe IQ points and whatever. But it's when thinking of that, I think it's also because we have kind of reduced kids to pets, and then that makes things very, 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 very difficult. That's why a lot of women don't necessarily think about that, because in any case, for any woman raising a child alone, it's a nice thing. It's a nice thing and a sweet thing, cute thing. That's when they start seeing the consequences of raising the children without the fathers. That it's actually because children will ask you questions. Okay, who's my dad? Where is he? Why do I not have a dad and others have a dad? And then what happened? And then you're going to have to come up with stories, and sometimes those stories you will have to make the dad appear as a bad person. But then remember that even if the dead hurt you, and then even if you are not a family member to the dead, the child, the father is the immediate family member to this child that you are actually raising. And then now that becomes a problem now, because if you say my dad is a deadbeat, that means I'm the child of a deadbeat. That means I'm the product of a deadbeat. That makes me a deadbeat, even before I actually have a chance to actually prove myself as a human being, or yeah. So that is the sad part, and then it's one of the consequences that I don't think women really pay attention to when they say such things, or when they try to sort of pursue such what you call methods.
For me, you know, this thing, like for me, I don't believe in those things. First of all, I don't believe in those artificial insemination things, because I'm telling you what now. The reason is, when a child grows up, they will want to know who's their daddy. There is no child who's gonna ignore everything that's happening in the world that they are growing in or they're being raised in. And they don't want to know who's their daddy. Even if they don't follow them, they still want to know. Yeah, but and then there was a movie actually which showed that this child, the mom had this thing, an artificial insemination, etc., and they had a baby, which was fine. Later on in life, the child didn't care what the mother was saying. The child was like, "You know your daddy, mommy. You know your mother. You know your parents. Me, I know 50% of my parents. What about that 50%? So now I'm gonna live my life knowing only 50% of my identity."
Yeah, actually, not only 50% of identity, you have actually robbed me of 50% of my business connections. You have robbed me of my identity. You have robbed me of my 50% of the other family. You have, remember, at the end of the day, well organized, if families are well organized, those are your first network. Your family becomes your first network. If you come from a well organized, well raised family, well looked after, then your brothers or your cousins become your first network. If you have got cousins in Cape Town, you no longer need to book a hotel because you've got a cousin that is in Cape Town. Then you were in good terms and all that. So you are basically robbing the child of the 50% of his entire life, of 50% of the possibilities that child could be exposed to. The father could be reached. The cousin could be reached. All that network you're actually cutting it. And then if you actually look deep down throughout history, part of the reason why people were getting married, it was also because of connections, because of wealth, because of building solid families, because of preserving wealth, and many other reasons that are actually not just based on romance and then the Romeo and Juliet stories.
It's so bad, because that's the thing, man. People don't understand that thing. For me, for example, I didn't know my mother's father.
Yeah,
I didn't know my mother's father. And even though it sounds so small, because I know my mother's mother, I didn't know my mother's father until last year, right? Because there was no reason for me to search for them. But for me, out of interest, okay, let me get to know my father's father, my mother's father, and then go to my mother's side. I know my mother's mother, but I didn't know my father's mother. So I went to my father,
when was this?
mother's side had other children. So now I've got uncles I didn't know about. I've got
when was this when you wanted to find out?
I didn't know about. So now, if you're saying now, if you did artificial insemination, or you went to a sperm bank, let's put that way, you went to a sperm bank, you got the sperm. This sperm basically not only does it only entail your 50%, it entails your future and your past. As you were saying about investment, connections, etc. Some people actually go with the belief of ancestry. So if you have connections to ancestors, you've got 50% gone, even more, not 50%, 80%, because they're only exposed to your mother, to your mother's sister, mother, and mother's mother, etc. It's gone. But your father has a lot to do, especially for males. For me, for males, it's even worse. It's not 50%, it's more. Yeah, but
no,
because for us,
not only that. Here's what happens. That's why we should actually never be reckless about sex. We should always have take discipline. We should not just sleep with anything.
Lungelo.
Yeah. Very, very, you need to be very, very, very disciplined about sex. So now, so what happens is that if he works in the medical department, he works in the medical, what do you call it? Faculty. It's not faculty, what do you call it? Industry.
Just say health science department.
Yeah. So what happens, what's the first questions that they ask you if you tell them that you are sick with something? If you've got maybe high blood or something, they will ask you, is there anyone in your family who has got this condition, right? Who has got this condition? So now, because you don't know half of your other family, that means you don't know. You will say no, even though the answer might be yes. So this is also, at that point in time, this is a matter of life and death. So even if you hate your baby daddy so much, understand the fact that your baby daddy is even if you hate your baby daddy or you hate your girlfriend so much, your baby mama so much, understand that person is in fact, having a child with someone is the original marriage. Is the two have become one there. And literally so, like the two have become one in flesh, you see. So it's not just some biblical thing. In any case, I'm not religious, so I'm not saying this because of I don't even care. But literally so, that the two have become one. And then that is the original marriage, because there you have got a family unit, you've got a mother, a father, and a child. And then the child is a product of these two, you see. So now, because of that, and then when you decide that, no, I don't want my child to know half of this, that means when your child goes to the doctor and then the doctor asks him, hey, do you have is there anyone who has got a history of cancer at home? And then he's gonna say, no, even though the dad might have had some cancer on the balls or something. So now the child is not gonna know that. And then because the child is not gonna know that, the child is also going to be in a I mean the blood it's going to be in a position whereby it's not really favorable for so it's not a joke. This thing is not a joke. It's really not a joke. You can't hide that.
I'm not mentioning before I forget. There's got something in my head now. I won't forget it. You know, sometimes you've got this thing where the mother lies about the father, right? You are pregnant as a woman. You lie about the father, right? So you say, you say, no, Lunga didn't get me pregnant. Ne? It was sports. It's fine. Now there comes a case where now you need to test for certain conditions. Now in Lunga's side, there's no one who had cancer. So therefore, we won't do a test for cancer. But Porto's side, there's a lot of people who got cancer. So now we're going to miss the diagnosis, not sit you well or undertreat you. On top of that, sometimes the things like that basically not only medically, ancestry. So you take you to do all this traditional stuff, and it doesn't work for you specifically. And it sounds like you're cursed now. But your mother didn't tell you that you're going to the wrong father's side. You are doing all these traditional ceremonies. Things are not going right because you are not from there. You are not in their bloodline, basically. That's why for me, other things, people can hate me, I don't care. But for me, I believe all the children must have a DNA test, a paternity DNA test. I don't want to hear, I look like the child's feet look alike.
I don't even understand why you would refuse that.
No, not only that, not only have a DNA test, not only have a DNA test.
They get angry when you tell them, no, I want to do a DNA test. They get angry. I don't know why.
Not only a DNA test. I want to have a DNA test. I want the results printed and then enlarged, framed, so big, like on an A0. You know A0, the A0 paper. And then an enlarged canvas in their room so that they know that they belong here. If they become Nyaupes, I know that, okay, maybe I have had a Nyaupe blood in me, and then all that. But then the certificates should be framed as proudly as we frame our degrees and our nice little accomplishments that we get from those funny universities.
If you're a radical feminist, you would say that if you're a radical feminist, you would say that if they came out as Nyaope kids, then they were bred by the society and not yourself.
Yeah,
Your
then I
child was
know that
born
I'm not a nyaupes. I'm not a nyaupes. And then they turned out to be nyaupes. And then the mother is not a nyaupes. That means then the society then is responsible. Because
not my genetics.
because the
My
DNA
genetics
says
can
these
go
are
wrong.
my kids. Yeah, the DNA says these are my kids. There are certificates there hanged on the wall, and then they are as big as a nice big,
Do you know what
bigger
you guys
than
are
a
doing?
paint, bigger
Do you
than
know
a
what you guys are
painting.
doing?
That yeah.
Wait.
Yeah,
I need
in
to end this
psychology,
one as well.
we
Let me.
call this attribution error. Error. So what that means is, if
Just
something good happens, right?
Wait.
That
I need
considered
to end this, and then
okay.
I'll start another one. It's gonna
Okay.
it's gonna do that thing.
Mo
Okay.
says it implies that you don't trust. You don't trust. No, Mo.
No, let
Even
me say,
you.
We'll start there. We'll start
This
there.
is
We'll
for
start
your
there.
benefit as well, because
listen, attribution